Hi, you're going to find out today why this upcoming eclipse season is unprecedented. I have a lot of notes to cover. I'm going to show you on the screen the actual moving parts of this eclipse. And if you already don't know me, this is Ev, and I am going to help you understand this upcoming unprecedented eclipse season. The first thing you have to understand that an eclipse, which is nothing more than a pair of souped up moons, new moon and full moon. So they come in pairs. This eclipse coming up, it's always going to be the solar eclipse first. That's when the sun and the moon are in the exact same degree and minute of the sign. So what you do is you look and see where that in your natal chart, that degree a minute is in your natal chart, which house it should be in 28 degrees Aquarius. That is the new moon. I will show you by definition what it is, because it has to involve the north node within 18 degrees. That's an eclipse. So we have new moons and full moons every month of the year. That makes 12. But eclipses, we have a solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. That's one pair. And then we have another pair. So this is the first pair coming up in February 17th. But we need to be prepared now. And you need to understand what are you supposed to do and what you don't have to do during this eclipse season. It's a very powerful, dynamic season as an eclipse season. But with what's going on other than the eclipse, it's even more powerful. It's first time in history of mankind that we're seeing such a lineup. And it just doesn't stop. First time for this, first time for that. 9 planets in Aries coming up. All right? Nobody has ever seen that either. But it's funny because let's start with here. I hope you see this. We have Saturn and Neptune in Aries, 0 degrees. Well, that's the Aries point, and that is the start of the zodiac. So whenever that happens, it's a start of a huge cycle, okay? The last time this happened, and you could go on all kinds of YouTube channels and see what different astrologers are saying about the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. That's because they're close together. And the last time this happened in Aries was 6,000 years ago. So now, in a few days, that's on, actually, it's even before that. Yeah, it's on the 14th. Of course, the day before the 14th is the 13th, so we have a Friday the 13th. Let's put it all in there. And then, so we're not going to ignore all these other planets. We also have the trifecta, or the threesome in the sky, the 3 outermost planets, which are Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. Those are the 3 slowest planets. There are more that they discovered. We're not talking about that now. But right now, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus are in relationship to one another, and it's the first time in thousands of years that this lineup has presented itself. And I could talk about that at another video, because it's just, life is moving so fast. I can't keep up with all this content. And if you think it's fast now, after the 17th, which is the solar eclipse, it's going to skyrocket. Things are going to move so fast. And what I'm doing, as some of my teachers are doing, is we're grounding ourselves more during these intense times. And I'm using this eclipse season to kind of plant the seeds of where I want to be in the future, next 18 years or so. That's an eclipse season type cycle. So there's so much electricity going on as far as everyone on electronics. It's a little obsessive, compulsive. That's a Pluto business, okay? So, and it's also Aquarius because it's all electronic, but it's like too much. And there's too much going on in the sky. So it kind of gives you the impact of how it's going to be. New era. Everybody's talking about a new dawn, new era. And this eclipse season is when we plant the seeds collectively and personally. I'm speaking right now personally. What can you do to plant the seeds for the upcoming season, the eclipse season? Okay? So the first thing you do is you set your intentions, your desires. What do you want? Those are the seeds. But what's going to help you is to look in the chart and see where, we're going to go to the 17th now, where the exact 28 degrees, okay, of Aquarius is in your chart. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, but you do want a reading, just contact me and we'll get that going for you. So as you see here, because I moved it, and it's going to be around 6:23 a.m., where the sun and the moon are in the exact 28 degrees Aquarius. That's by definition a new moon. And then by definition, an eclipse is when the north node and south node or south node are within 18 degrees of the full moon or new moon. So this fits. This is 10 degrees. But as you can see, there's a lot of other, these are all planets. There are a lot of other planets involved in this little area of the chart, not counting the big three in the sky, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, right? And Uranus is going to go into Gemini. That's another big deal. All right, we're already starting to feel the energies. So here we are with this historic Neptune, Saturn, Neptune in Venus, 0 degrees, brand new cycle. And it's also, this conjunction here is making contact to one of the big threes here, actually two of the big threes, if not all three. Okay, so we have that right here. So this Saturn-Neptune conjunction on the day of the solar eclipse is making contact with Pluto and Uranus, of course. So it's a very opportune time, and I want to make sure that you understand what that means. It's a very lucky time. This is when you write down everything and that you desire and just put it on paper. Think big, because you want to think big. You have Jupiter here impacting the planets that are next to the north node. Okay, they're They're in relationship. So as you can see, that involves almost the whole chart, okay? And we also have a relationship with this solar eclipse to Chiron in Aries. So there's Aries energy is forceful, blunt, let's get it going. It's all about me. But it's the warrior. It's cutting. It's not thinking. It's independence. So this is a time to take an opportunity for self-healing. Okay? So find where 28 degrees is Aquarius in your chart. Then look directly opposite of that point, and it will be 28 degrees Leo, and see where that is in your chart. Because this is going to light up, or the focus will be in that area of your chart and the house across from it. Okay? This should make a lot of sense to you. Now, I have an upcoming class, March 2nd. It's within this opportunity period that teaches about transits, forecast with confidence using astrology transits and making it personal. All right? So how you make it personal is you put your natal chart on the inside of this wheel and you see what's making contact. That's what astrologers do for forecasting. So let me just take a glance at the notes. Well, on the 17th, besides the eclipse that I talked a little bit about, we also have Mardi Gras. We also have Ramadan, and it's the Chinese New Year of the fire horse. Now, things are going to be fast. We also have to break down Aquarius and say, oh, well, Aquarius is a fixed sign. They don't like to change. Keep it the way it is. And air sign, air is very social, but it's also very quick. And you add that with this Uranus going into an air sign shortly, and the Saturn Neptune in fire, that is just going to fan the fire, and we've never seen anything this powerful. Nobody. So make it the best that you can. Write down your intentions. Make them big. Just make believe that someone's giving you a magic wand right now and make it happen. And then trust. Use your law of attraction. Trust that the universe is delivering this to you, especially in the next 18 years. But you're going to plant the seeds. And did you know that a bamboo seed takes 5 years to germinate? However, once it germinates and sprouts, that's germination, it's the fastest growing plant on the planet. Fascinating, isn't it? So use this time period to brainstorm. Put your thoughts on paper. It is an attention setting for manifestation. Okay? Also, we're also going to have this animalistic energy of Aries as well. And in the collective, you could see how all that is playing out. And I'm not talking about that now. I'll do another video maybe later on what's going on with the exposure of information and the collective whole, the society, the planet, humanity, how it's embracing electronics, AI using up all our electricity. spreading information all around the planet. May not be true, may be true, but our freedom is out there, and I do feel and see that this dark and corrupt information that is coming out, and this confusion with Neptune in Aries, but the Saturn is making it a reality. It's like, is this a fairy tale? Is this real? Is this smoke and mirrors? So you need to really research or find a good source of information, but it's a global thing. And it's the elite against the average people. And I'll tell you what, I'm seeing that this tug of war and conflict between the elite and the poor people, and it's gone out through history. Don't forget, the ancient Romans used to feed the Christians to the lions, and they would cheer on. It was like a football game. And they would bury live human beings in the field, and then they'd get a cultivator and heads would be, flying all over the place. Gruesome. When they were cheering them on, very barbaric. So there's an element of society that's always been barbaric, and I feel it's always going to be barbaric. However, it's in the news now, and I see that both parties now are coming closer together. So this is going to cause some unity. Unity, much desired unity that we haven't seen in a while. Because don't forget, you want to win somebody over, or you want to take over a population. It's divide and conquer. It's an old-fashioned way of doing it. But during this time, set your intention. And then when the lunar eclipse comes about, all right, so we're going to move it 2 weeks. And with this software program here, my ephemeris, it's a simpler one. Now we have March 3rd, Eastern Time. We have the moon and the sun opposite one another, 12 degrees Pisces, okay? And now the node is even closer than it was for the new moon. So the new moon always occurs first. That's when you do your brainstorming, you plant your seeds, and you put down what you want to do. And then the time to release all that discovering, self-discovery, what you want, and you launch it or project it out, release during the full moon. So Aries is about doing it fast too. So everything about this upcoming year and the time forward is going to be fast, very fast. So eclipses may force us out of our comfort zone, and it's a very sacred time. It's a personal time. So you take this time now until the full moon to percolate and say, what do I really want? If I had a magic wand, how would I want to live? What would be some of the things that I want to be doing? And believe me, if you have any body aches or you have ailments, sicknesses, that's just your body trying to tell you something. It's the truth. And as soon as you make the right move, and it's the right move in your heart, because the heart dictates everything, it's amazing how that body sensation or the aches and pains go away. For example, if you have eye fatigue and your eyes are burning, okay, you're on the screen too much. You get those blue glasses and all that other stuff, but you're not meant to be looking at an electronic screen so many hours. People that have carpal tunnel, that's because they're doing a repetitive motion with the fingers all the time, too much. So there's a need to balance. And if you check nature, there's always balance. Even in astrology, it's part of nature. They're the cycling planets. You have to balance. You notice that the houses are balanced. You have a first house opposite the seventh house. You have the signs. You have 12 signs. 6 of the 12 signs are opposite the other 6 signs. You see, there's sequencing, there's order. It's not chaotic. And the way they move the planets, it's predictable. And that's what astrologers do. They predict where the planets are going to be. But can I tell you exactly what's going to happen during this eclipse to you? No, nobody can. However, I could tell you what part of your life it's probably going to affect. I could tell you what other planets are involved. And I could tell you, where the other planets in your chart may be impacted as well. And which ones are the faster planets, how long that's going to be in contact and things like that. But you already feel it. The astrologer confirms what is inside your soul. These charts are soul-driven charts. That's pretty intense right there. A lot of astrologers don't talk about it, but the natal chart and what goes on up there have to do with our soul. And the soul is part of the collective humanity and the source, the creator. You see? Well, then you have this lineup over here of Mars, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Neptune, and Saturn, all lined up in close proximity. This is practically a stellium, so that's a great bundle of energy. Think of planets as action figures. So it's like a whole football team, and they're plowing through. That's a lot of force, all right? So you want to see where that is in your chart. And also, there's a bit of a obsessive, I got to do this quality during this full moon coming up on March 3rd with Venus, money, unconditional love, maybe cryptocurrency, and how I feel about services, how I feel about my health, and how I feel about the practical things in life, my daily job or my daily routine. Okay? That's another thing you may be experiencing. Here's another thing that people are not talking about. The Black Moon Lilith situation over here, which to me is all this dark stuff with human trafficking, prostitution, pedophilia, all that. It's on the news. Some of it is not on the mainstream news, but it's in the Department of Justice website, has everything in it. 50 million documents or pages. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to sit there and go through it. I mean, it is what it is. It's horrible. But we need accountability, okay? We do need accountability. And we'll see what happens because justice is in the forefront in this time period. But Black Moon Lilith is in Sagittarius, which is all about law enforcement and justice. So there's a lot to be done with this Saturn and Neptune combination, our money and how we think, everything, who we are. So take time to meditate. Take time to ground yourself. Get off of the social media or away from electronics. If you're on 5 or 6 hours a day, cut it back to 2 hours. Just cut it in half. If you could take a whole, break from it, do it. You'll be much healthier because this is very unhealthy stuff right now. And whatever you do, don't do any of this electronic scrolling and stuff like that right before bed. It's highly addictive, very addictive. But if you want to control your life, and if you're listening to me, you're one of those people that are more enlightened, more in tune, and you have your finger on the pulse, and you want to do what's right for humanity. Find something that you could do for your fellow human being and do it. So that's what you're called to do. We have Venus and Pisces and all this Pisces energy because we're moving into Pisces season. And that has to do with unconditional love when it's Venus involved. But Pisces itself is selflessness, and it could be the victim. You could be so selfless that people walk all over you. It's also very spiritual. It could be escapism, fantasy, and that kind of no planning and just going with the flow. Okay? Meditation, hypnosis, the invisible world, angels. That's all Piscean energy. So that solar eclipse that we started with 2 weeks ago, which will be the 17th, because we went from the solar eclipse, then we jumped to the lunar eclipse. Now we're back to the solar eclipse. And what it will do is it will clear up your past hurts. And Neptune also means suffering. So it could clear up past suffering. This is a time to work through all that. But, it's also being exposed. It's exposing all this bad stuff on the news. It's very shocking. That's Uranus. It's like lightning bolts. Wait for Uranus to go into Gemini. That's going to be another video. So you could see, whoa, that's when mainstream is going to be talking about it. Everyone's going to come out. The whole planet is involved. The whole planet. The funny thing is, there are all these world leaders that are dropping like flies. Some are dying, some are committing suicide, some are dropping their positions all around the planet. Every day there's a new person. If you're watching the alphabet soup news media networks, you might not hear all this. But if you do your own investigating on your social media platforms, and you could see, like in India, they are revolting against one of the leaders in India that was on the Epstein list. I mean, I think we're more complacent about it as Americans than the rest of the world. But that's a whole nother story. So we have to, with this Jupiter in Cancer, it's a very good position. Jupiter is about joy, expansion, manifesting, but it has to do with nurturing your family, and it's a very caring energy. So all that is involved with Venus and this eclipse season, this Jupiter influence. So make sure you check and see your natal chart and see what it lights up. But there is so much going on right now that it may be hard to relax. So you're going to have to work extra hard to ground yourself. I don't care if you hold a ceramic cup. I hold my ceramic cup, or hold on to crystals, go out in nature, lean or hug on a tree, breathe, do your yoga, and stay away from the electronics. And here I am recording on it. But that's why I don't do a lot of electronics. Like TikTok is trying to coax me into doing these lives. I don't have time. I've got to take care of my clients. I have a work-life balance. And if I do everything that everybody wants me to do, then I'm not going to have any time to do what I want to do. And that's what you need to do. Because we're going into a big Aries season. And it's a time to really look in the mirror and see, hey, who am I? What am I here to do? What do I want to get out of this eclipse season? What part of me, the old me, do I want to get rid of? That's what you want to do. Get rid of the past that you don't like. And it's funny because one of my clients said, yeah, I feel it. I even cut my hair. That's a very metaphysical action there. When you're shedding the old person, you cut your hair. You could tell by looking at a strand of hair, because if you have really long hair, it's a really long time. And you could see the chemical changes throughout these years. It's all recorded in your hair. You didn't know that? Of course you knew that. So, very unprecedented time. So remember, plant those seeds and don't be counting on the news from the big news boxes. Get your own news from your own source. Have an open mind. Ask yourself, what if this is true? You don't want to ignore something that, well, it's not happening to me, so I don't care. No, because we're all one. So if your family has not experienced a death from fentanyl, you're fortunate. So many families are affected by this. If your family has not been affected by the horrid human trafficking, violence, and everything else, you're really fortunate. But this stuff does exist. I know where I live in Virginia Beach, we have a huge problem because we have an ocean front and there's so much beach that you wouldn't believe how people just leave their children, and kids get snatched up all the time. Gone. They don't tell you that. Also suicides. See it all the time. It's not even put on the news. But yet, there's, eyewitnesses that took videos of it, not knowing that that's what they were going to encounter. How many times they jump off the buildings here. That's not on the news. They're all distracting us. But the reality is, we need to be in touch with one another, have conversations with one another, be nice to one another, give other people a chance. We're all different, but we don't want to hate on each other. That's not the golden rule. So what are we going to do? You're going to pray. You're going to meditate. Send love. Speak your truth. Right now, we have the old world separating from the new world. And Dolores Cannon, God rest her soul, she talked about this. And if you don't know who Dolores Cannon is, look her up. Her daughter's done a fine job to take it over. She's done past life and future life regressions, written several books, but she called it. And also I have some other notes here about the upcoming season. So the to-do list would be to observe before acting, especially before the full moon in March. Journal what comes up. Look for patterns. Rest more. You might be more tired. Okay? Clean, declutter, simplify. You know, there's a direct correlation between your house content and the condition of your house and the condition of your mind. So a cluttered space, cluttered mind. Yep. So take a look inward. Pay attention to repeating signs and themes. And ask better questions instead of forcing the answers. So it's a time of awareness. So this is what you do not do. Make impulsive, irreversible decisions. Don't burn the bridge. Don't force relationship ultimatums. Launch major projects on the 3rd of March, not before. This is a very opportune, lucky time, this eclipse season.
It's 5 o'clock.
Don't quit your job out of emotional overwhelm, because the next job that you get will be the same thing, if not worse. Never run away from your problems. Run to what you love. Do what you love to do. Assume everything is permanent. Don't do that. Nothing is permanent. King Solomon said, "This too shall pass." Don't ignore your intuition. Big mistake. What begins and ends during an eclipse often looks very different 6 months later. So it might be a little stressful now, but it will all simmer down. But it's going fast, I'm telling you. So slow down, stay flexible, hydrate your body, ground yourself, watch your dreams, watch for signs from the invisible world. Take a look at your chart. Get your forecast reading if you haven't done so already. Until next time, be safe. Ask any questions if you have any. Subscribe if you like what you hear. And forward it to anyone that may benefit from this information. And all my love. Bye-bye.